Cynthia Hartley. Just like most people, my life has been drastically changed by the COVID-19 pandemic. But what exactly makes this virus so deadly? Just like the flu, the death rate is moderately low, meaning most people who get the virus make a full recovery. What makes the disease so deadly is its potential. So what exactly do I mean by potential? Well, we all know COVID-19 is scary and easy to get, and there isn't a vaccine or cure for it just yet. But by potential, I mean the virus isn't bad in all cases. A lot of people make recoveries, but in some cases of the virus, it can be extremely life-threatening. Since December, many medical researchers have been researching and studying the people who got the short end of the stick when it comes to the virus. And what they discovered is interesting. They discovered in the majority of those cases, they were struck with a cytokine storm. Let's break that down. First, we know what storm means. It means an overwhelming force of something. When we think about weather, a storm usually means a lot of rain or wind. A cytokine is anything secreted by an immune cell to fight off a virus or bacteria in our body. So a cytokine storm is when there are too many of these secretions by these immune cells. So what these cytokines start doing is they start attacking the tissue in our body. The good thing is, you can only get a cytokine storm if you're already sick. That's why staying inside when it comes to COVID-19 is so important. But what do you do if you already have the virus and you already have a cytokine storm? Researchers in China think they found the answer. When we have an immune reaction, we know our cells let out cytokines. One of the chemicals that makes this happen is called IL-6. IL-6 is a special kind of chemical called a ligand. What's so special about ligands is that they help cells communicate with one another.
Just like how we release sound vibrations from our vocal boxes, IL-6, our ligand, is released by a source. In this case, IL-6 is coming from cells in our immune system. Like the vibrations reaching our ears, the IL-6 finds its way to a cell that has the right receptor. A receptor is just the area of the cell membrane, the outside skin of the cell, that can bind to a ligand. You know how sometimes if a friend speaks too loud or too quiet, you can't make out what they're saying? It's similar in cell signaling. IL-6 can only bind to a specific place. It's called IL-6R. So what does IL-6 do when they bind to a receptor? Well, they start a response, a chain of reactions within the cell that makes the cell do a certain thing. Imagine the ligand is Martin Luther King, and the receptor is the podium he does his speech at. When Martin Luther King gave a speech at the podium, that started a chain reaction of the civil rights movement, which caused a lot of change in America. The same can be said with the ligand and its receptor. Here's a map of the reactions that take place in the cell that causes cytokines to be released. As we can see, IL-6 binds to IL-6R and turns on the proteins next to it. The proteins then start a chain reaction within the cell that eventually causes way too many cytokines to be released. So if we blocked IL-6 from binding to IL-6R, it means the whole reaction can be stopped. But how can we do that?
Well, scientists believe they found just the chemical for the job. It's called tocilizumab, and it looks like this.
The drug works by binding to IL-6R, so IL-6 can't.
Many patients who have already been treated with the drug have felt better within 2 weeks. And with our growing knowledge, hopefully we'll be able to help many more people in the